Hello and welcome to this class. I am Richa Shekhar, Assistant Professor, School of Business, Galgotias University, Yamuna Expressway. We are going to discuss personality attributes influencing organization behavior from Module 1, that is on fundamentals of organization behavior. The present topic will include all those attributes which can form a very important part in influencing work. The objectives of this session will include the following: major personality attributes influencing OP, that is self-esteem, self-monitoring, locus of control, Machiavellianism, type A personality, type B personality. What is personality? The sum of total of ways in which an individual reacts and interacts with others. A very famous definition given by Stephen P. Robbins. It is, I think, one of the most fundamental definitions that is available in the literature for organization behavior. Personality is the combination of characteristics or qualities that form an individual's distinctive character. Then what is attribute? An attribute in very layman language would mean a characteristic of a person, place or thing. When I talk about personality attribute, it means the kind of person I'm facing. The first question is, why should I take an understanding on personality attributes? It is very important. We are in an organization that is home to people from different backgrounds, cultures, ethnicity. In such a scenario, having a fair idea about the personality set you are facing would help you to, for example, begin with making productive teams that would actually work together, sync together for achieving organizational goals and objectives. If I'm very sure about the person I need for a particular job, I must also know the behavioral part required in that particular work. So, to start with, it's important that we must know why personality attributes are important for any manager in an organization. The first attribute that we would be discussing is self-esteem. What is self-esteem? An individual's degree of liking or disliking themselves and the degree to which they think they are worthy or unworthy as a person, or the degree to which people feel good about themselves and their abilities. Simply put, a person's thoughts and feelings about themselves. Self-esteem is by far very important for any individual to maintain a level of positivity in himself or herself. A person with self-esteem will definitely be a very big contributor for achieving the organizational goals and objectives. Self-esteem is important because it helps you to identify what quality are there in you that makes you as a winner, as a solution provider, as a person with all kinds of efficacy. For the present discussion, we'll be covering two types of self-esteem an individual can have. The first is high self-esteem. Such a person loves himself. He or she accepts himself or herself as they are. They're not bothered what people are thinking about themselves, but they know what they are and they have full confidence in themselves. Low self-esteem. Such a person doesn't respect himself, doesn't love himself or herself, They don't want to accept what they are, and they never value their qualities. For a moment, before I move forward with my presentation, just see if you remember a person with a high self-esteem and another person with a low self-esteem. And also see for yourself which category you belong to, high or low. Now, why do I know these things? Why do I need to know and understand these things? It's because I'll be able to value my work. Characteristics of high self-esteem people. Such people know what they can do well and they also know how they can improve. Such people express their opinion in small courtrooms or big gatherings. They know their qualities and they try to improve their defects. Such people are performers, they are learners. They have the competence of excelling on themselves. They are in complete love with themselves. They want to improve upon their lacunae and be a better performer as what they were in the past. They recognize when they make a mistake and take complete responsibility for it. I feel I can give an example of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, once who commented on a loss India had in a cricket game and said, "If the wins are mine, so are the loss." A person with very high self-esteem will only be able to say so because they know where they had gone wrong. They consider others, they like to help, and they're willing to collaborate with other people. They value themselves in everyday situations. They try to see what best can be done every day. They're nicer to be around. People love their company. People love to hear to them, and their ideas are always met with interest because others want to hear them, what they have to say, and they value their opinion. They posit positive opportunities. In organizations with people who have high self-esteem, there is a positive work culture. They try to improve the health of the organization by excelling on themselves. They're very big performers, great learners, and they never lose their quality of resilience. Now let us understand the characteristics of low self-esteem people. Now it is a complete reverse of what we had covered in the previous slide. Such people are very indecisive. They find it very difficult to make or take decisions. They're scared of making a mistake. It's like you give a person, some amount, and that person would dare not spend that amount because he fears, he doesn't have confidence in his decision making and would like to keep it close to his heart, which means he's not growing. They only make decisions when they are 100% certain that they will achieve a good result. Now they can think in different directions, but unless until they are very sure, they never voice their opinion. They think they can't do new things and they don't know anything. If you have people with low self-esteem in organization, it's very difficult to help them to achieve new changes. They are always opposing it in some way or the other. You ask them to lead a team, they would say, "No, we can't do it," unless until they have been able to do their job for the past couple of months together or years together, which implies they do not like new ventures. They don't value their talents. They look at their small talents and they see other people's talents as being better. It's always like such a person who's in front of me is always better than me. It's sometimes becoming a way suffocation for them. They're isolated, they don't have many friends to count on, they don't even like to compete with others, and they're always in a confused mind of state thinking that they can cause a bad impression. Hence, to protect themselves from any unhealthy or any undesirable situation, such people take a low profile. They're very pessimistic. That's the right word. They believe everything is going to have a negative outcome. Now, suppose you have people with very low self-esteem in organization, it's very difficult to get work through them, because as we know that we organizational members have to improve, have to learn new things, have to express themselves, innovation, creativity. People with such characteristics can posit a very big challenge for the organization. Now, going forward with self-esteem, it's like feelings of self-worth. Success tends to increase self-esteem and failure tends to decrease self-esteem. Is it possible for us to have self-esteem that's very high all the times or very low all the times? Sometimes we are a combinations. Feelings would be a part of our work culture. Sometimes we'll be performing excellent, sometimes a little less than excellent. Then, what are those factors that can help us to maintain a high self esteem? That is success. Giving good lectures, hearing good lectures will not make a person embrace high self esteem. It's only success. If what he has worked so hard for, maybe for a couple of days or months together, if it leads to success, then a person regains maybe from low self-esteem to even high self-esteem, and if already on high self-esteem to a higher stage. It's very important, therefore, that everyone should be able to achieve minimum success in life to move forward. Second personality attribute is self-monitoring, a personality trait involving the extent to which individuals adapt their behavior to the demands of specific situations so as to make good impressions on others. Now, the consequences of self-monitoring would be influencing the work performance, career success, interpersonal relationships. Now, it is a response that I am giving to the external environment, which is influenced by visual, vocal, and verbal cues. Behavior based on cues from other situations. We have two basic categories. The first is high self monitors, the second is low self monitors. We are sometimes falling in each category sometime or the other. People who are very high self-monitors are flexible. They adjust their behavior according to the social situation and the behavior of others. They can appear unpredictable and inconsistent. Such people are very much worried about what others think about them, so they can make their outward appearance as is required for a particular situation. For an example, a person who wants that everyone must pay attention to him or her would always try to laugh loudly in a crowd even when there's nothing much to laugh around. But he wants the attention on him. People who are low self monitors, they act from internal states of mind rather than from situational cues. They behave like that. If they are sad, they look sad. If they're happy, they look happy. If they are not liking you, they'll make sure that you understand that they're not liking you and so on. They're very consistent in their behavior and are less likely to respond to work group pressures or to the supervisor's pressures. They would say that this is what they are and this is how they'll be working, and they're not worried about what others can do to them. Now let us come to an understanding of who is most likely to get promoted, accomplish tasks, meet others' expectations, seek out central positions in social networks, change employers, self-promote, make a job-related geographic move, and so on. These are the high self-monitors. Why? For example, look at a politician. Very often you would hear that people change parties because they want to be in a winning party. Such people move very high in the organizational ladder, in the hierarchy of the organization, because they know what others like. They know what others appreciate. They are not very straightforward. They are very manipulative. Maybe that's the right word. Such people demonstrate high levels of managerial self-awareness. They base behavior on other cues and the situations. It's like even if they are not feeling very well and if the boss wants them to go for a presentation, they would always say I'm fit and fine because he also knows that that presentation might lead him a jump in his career. So, being people with high self-monitoring style could be a way of great achievement in your career. You can be a good performer because you understand what people appreciate and you have a full control on yourself. The third personality attribute is locus of control. It refers to the degree to which individuals believe that they are masters of their own fate. A locus of control orientation is a belief about whether the outcomes of our actions are contingent on what we do, internal control orientation, or on events outside our personal control, that is external control orientation. Now we'll be discussing the two poles of locus of control, that is internal, which means I control whatever happens to me. External means people and circumstances control my fate. Now ask yourself a question. If something goes right in your life, whom are you giving the credit to? If you're giving the credit to outside forces and not yourself, that means you have an external locus of control. Internal would be that I am fully aware of my competencies and I'm taking responsibility for whatever is happening in my life. Such people who have internal locus of control are very happy go around people. They do better tasks. They have a strong level of efficacy. They also are very confident in whatever opinion that they are, giving in a meeting. They can be physically healthier because they're very positive. They are not bothered about how other situation can control their life. They are in complete control of events in their life. People who are external locus of control, very saddest, very loners, I would say. They are more prone to experiencing learned helplessness. They are feeling very hopeless all the time. They have a very long face. They're blaming the fate around that whatever is happening is because of fate. To give an example, suppose a person gets a salary hike. If he says that I got this hike because I deserved it, internal locus of control. External would be what to do. They had to show something on papers so they could find someone, and that's why I'm given this hike. I have nothing to do with this. That person is having an external locus of control. The fifth attribute we'll be talking is on type A and B behavior. Type A behavior. This behavioral pattern identified nearly 25 years ago when it was found that coronary patients being studied behaved similarly in many ways. They were extremely competitive, they were high achieving, aggressive, hasty, impatient, and restless. Type A individuals are often deeply involved and committed to their work so that other aspects of their lives are relatively neglected. They operate under moderate or very high level of stress. They are fast workers because they emphasize quantity rather than quality. Such people are very much worried about how to get work done, and they are very good performance in the organization. Such people are always moving, walking, eating rapidly. They strive to do two or more things at the same time, such as thinking about an irrelevant subject when listening to someone else speak. They are rarely creative, very aggressive, neurotic, anxious, as well as in greater need for control than type B individuals. They're more sensitive and set unrealistic high performance standards for themselves and sadly for others also. And if you have a boss who's type A, then God save you. They are very less tolerant and get agitated easily. To sum up, I would say that type A people are good managers, but by setting some unrealistic targets, they can really make the entire organizations run fast beyond the permitted speed. Type B behavior. Such people are just the reverse of type A. They never suffer from time urgency and they are not impatient. They work under pressure, give productive results. They feel no need to impress others with one's achievements or accomplishments unless such exposure is demanded by situation. These people need to be pushed around a lot in the organizations, being able to work without agitation and to relax without guilt. They focus on quality of work rather than quantity, play for fun and relaxation rather than to exhibit their superiority at any cost. A person who is type B behavior, suppose that a bridge falls down and he was the engineer responsible for it. So far as you make him personally responsible, he would be just sitting around and saying, okay, the bridge has fallen down, good, now the police would come and the ambulance would come. They're very chilled around, they would never like to risk their health at the cost of work. Work is secondary to such kind of people. Unless until you put a pressure on them, they are less likely to perform. For the present presentation, we have referred the following books, and you can go ahead and read them in detail for enriching your knowledge on personality attributes. Thank you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy.